Here we are at a client's house. This is Carol Hatcher's apple tree in the background. We've been working on this tree now for a few years. The tree originally had several layers of branches, one set of layer over another, almost like a ladder. We're reducing the tree to pretty much a single plane, so we don't have so many layers in there. We don't want one limb growing across the top of the other limb. And so we got a few more layers to take off. Right now Tracy's got the pole saw up there and she's removing some of the limbs off of one last great upright in the tree. And so while she's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and start pruning over here on the outsides. And we got all this beautiful vigorous growth that came from last year's pruning. I'm going to go through all this growth and I'm going to remove about 50% of it because we have about half again more wood in here than we actually need. I'm also going to shorten the length of almost all of it. There we go. Right tool for the right job, right? So the idea here is that as we go through this tree and we do pruning, I want to get the tree opened up enough so that little birds will be able to fly right through the canopy when I'm done pruning it. That's the basic idea here. And so tree regrew really nice. Everything looks great in here. We just got too much of a good thing. As I'm cutting the twigs here in the tree, I'm cutting these things to outward facing buds, so that the bud is on the outside of the stem and the next growth will come this way out from the core of the tree so I don't distort the form of the plant. If I pruned inward facing buds, we'd have shoots going this way counter to the flow of the tree, and that'd be messy. Since we lowered this tree over the last couple of years, a lot of the work in here is going to be able to be done with tools from the ground. Some of it I'm going to have to use my pole tools, or we'll have to use the ladder, but a good load of it will be done actually standing on the ground, which is ideal. I love it when I don't have to climb into the trees. Over here, I'm wondering and looking, but I guess the most logical thing for me to do in this spot is I'm going to part this limb right here. Now I got to do that by relieving the cut on the back side first so it doesn't crack out. Put a notch over here. Now I'm going to start on this side and I'm going to be going up at an angle in line with the branch. There she goes, hit the notch. Good. Good. Yeah. That took care of a lot of it, didn't it? All right. There we go. Okay, see, that had disease in it. Nasty, ugly, fire blight, dead bark. Spacing all the branches here. I'm removing about 50% of the wood that grew through this area, and then I'm shortening everything again by about half. How you doing? Wearing out?
Almost there.
You want me to get a chainsaw yet, or you almost got it?
I'm almost there.
You're almost there. Okay, good. So, hey, there you go. Nice work. Looks good. Pruning from the bottom up. When pruning fruit trees, don't ever start at the top of the tree. Start at the bottom of the tree and begin removing what you can get from down low. Half the time you'll find that most of your stuff is finished by the time you get to the top of the tree. Yeah, start at the base. If we work from the base up, half of the stuff that's in the top of the tree is going to be finished by the time we get there. Okay? And it's much easier pruning from down here than it is from pruning up there. Also another reason why you want to keep the tree from being layered and being as close to the ground as possible. These limbs are just high enough that I can get underneath them without hitting my head. That's perfect because I can do most of my pruning, most of my spraying, most of my picking standing right here on terra firma. This is Tracy over here, my assistant, known by some of you in Fremont as the lady at Dale Hardware in the nursery in the garden center. Okay, time for the extension lopper. Okay, so I got a lot of growth on this limb inside the tree. I don't want this because I have one limb here, yet this limb is underneath it, and so I'm going to allow it to branch out there in the sunlight, but I don't want branches in here. So I'm cutting these back just to try to create maybe a few fruiting spurs in here by taking them back to little 2-bud spurs. Otherwise, I'm going to leave all the limbing on this out on that end where it can get to the sunlight. All right, here I got a great big straight pylon going right up out of the middle. Take that down. As I said, prune from the bottom, not the top. The top of this thing must have been 12 feet in the air. The bottom was only 5.
Awesome, beautiful.
Yep. Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm coming along pretty good here. Not bad. I'm liking it. Okay, way too thick on this side. That side's good. Looks real good. Okay. All right. So, I'm going to start over here. I'm going to cut these branches back. There. Again, thinning the limbs. Too many limbs. The tree was really happy that we gave it a nice cut last year, and it responded by regrowing with a vengeance. And so we have wood to thin. We want the little birds to be able to fly through the canopy of the tree. And then here we have mummies. Mummies are no good. Mummies are log cabins for worms. Oh, the birds found the worms and ate them. Big hole in the birds. So you do want to take down your fruit. Mummies. They're, a great place for pests and diseases to hide over the winter. Just imagine if you were a small bug and you were looking for a place to live in the winter in California, I'd say the inside of a dry apple would be pretty handy. Boy, food and shelter combined all in one. Yeah, more mummies. Well, that's hardly a mummy. That's a mommy. Oh, oh. Pruning a tree. Not completely. Oh yeah, and we got the right one too. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That was a good choice. Look at that. That's where intuition comes in. I couldn't see the top of that, but look at that. Oh my goodness. See that?
Firelight, yeah.
Firelight. Yeah, so, like I said, there's no Vulcan logic in that at all. I just looked up and said, ugly. Don't like this one. And turns out I was right about it. I say pruning can sometimes be intuitive. And you can see right here, all this dead, blackened, peeling bark. That'll continue spreading. It's all the way down in here, at least, on that limb. So, that was a good pick. That's right. What's one of the things about pruning, not everything is done all at once. You can be making plans for what you're going to do next year while you're looking at this year. I usually do. Start to develop a program that will help me deal with the plant over time. Because no matter what, trees take a while to grow. Issues in trees happen over a period of time. Corrections of things that happen in trees, really, they can be dealt with in a longer sense than just right now. The tree won't care most of the time as far as what kind of branching and limbing it's got up there. As long as it's not inherently unstable, the tree doesn't really care that much. It's the gardener that gives a darn. In our case here, we want renewal wood. We want fresh growth coming on the tree. That's good. Replaces the old damaged stuff. We also want to keep everything closer to the ground. We want to try to prune so that our fruit isn't banging against other limbs, and so that's where the crossing wood comes in. Otherwise you get bruised apples. Okay, right straight over the top of your head there. There's one right here. See this one? Take that off to the limb all the way. Okay, now I'll step back, have a look at my work. What do I think? Yeah, I think we're there. We got a few pieces of wood laying on top of the tree, but otherwise, I think it's pretty darn good. Okay, so we got a old time scar right here that so far is not taking to rot. It looks like it might be healing, so that's good news. Otherwise, we'd have to go in there eventually and cut at that to keep it from spreading in the tree. And a few too many limbs right here in the middle. Okay, so looking good. Work cleaned up underfoot as you go so you don't trip on the stuff. That's important. Remember, apple wood is really good stuff in the barbecue grill and the smoker. So don't go just throwing all this stuff into the city green waste bin. Kind of a crying shame. Put it in the Weber grill, make some salmon, smoke a chicken, do something with it. Also, the thing about apple wood is that these new branches off the tree are very flexible, and if you take them when you're still green like this, you can stick them in the ground, use them for hoops, arches in the garden, stakes in the garden, poles for trees in pots. You can take them, put one in on one side. Yeah, Carol's got a nice one there. Cut a point on one end, push that point in the dirt like this, bend it over, and take another one. Weave the two together like a wicker chair or basket. Put a piece of tie on there so they hold. You make great big hoops and arches. So really handy. Stuff's not junk. Burns good, tastes good, bends nice. Make some furniture.